Hi everybody! Today I'm going to be reviewing A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. My name is Jennifer, or you can see pen clicking Jen from my name down below. And I hope you like my makeup. It's inspired by this book. Reminded me of the night sky and winter solstice. I don't know why I'm talking like this, but I am. So yeah. First of all, I just want to point out the cover of this is gorgeous. A quick little disclaimer-y thing. Just this past January through till now, I binge read the entire A Court of Thorns and Roses series. I love it very much. It is marketed as a young adult novel. However, I personally see it as more of a new adult novel just because of some of the language that Maas uses and the schmexy time scenes, which, you know, I enjoy reading, especially with the characters. I'm like, I love these characters, and the fact that they're doing these lovely things, it makes me happy. But be warned, it is a little bit more mature than what a young adult novel tends to be. It is a lot shorter than the rest of the series. It's more of a novella. It's kind of a go-between from what the main series is or was. I don't know if she's necessarily finished with these characters or the series, or if she's gonna put it under another name. This happens a few weeks or months, I think, after the third book finishes, and this is for spoilers for people who haven't read the first three books. In that case, don't watch this video because it doesn't make sense. But yeah. It takes place right after with all the beloved characters. It has quite a few character perspectives. A lot of times it's Feyre or Rhysand, and they also include Nesta and Cassian's point of view. I think that's it. It follows them throughout getting ready for winter solstice, which is a very big holiday in the Night Court. And things happen and emotions are stirring and stuff, and you learn about what's going to happen in the next book as insofar as how it's going to work with the peace between the humans and the fairies, and the tensions are going to build up and burst. Yeah. But like I said, this is a novella. It's a go-between novel, basically. It's kind of like book 3.1. No major action scenes or impactful, like, oh my gosh, the world's gonna end. They are literally getting ready for winter solstice. I'm gonna put this down because I keep waving it. I'm gonna hit my camera if I do. So if you don't like books that are more subdued or slow or kind of like, then I don't think you'll like this book. Personally, I love this type of thing. It's very much so what my book is about. I find that Maas is really exploring her characters in this book, and she's letting us get a sense into who they are, how they have changed, how the war has affected them. My stomach is growling. That is so awkward. I'm so hungry. I can't wait to wash off this makeup and just chow down on like a hot dog or something like that. So personally, I love these stories that are a little slower, that let you into their personal lives a little bit more. Like, I understand fantasy is very much about, you know, the dragons, the slaying, the magic, but I do like it when authors slow it down, let us get a look into like how their everyday lives are, how things have happened after these major events. I love that sort of thing. I love that Maas is exploring this. It's nice. You know, like, because I think everybody in a way is dealing with their own PTSD from the war, and it's amazing to read how they're all dealing with it separately and also together. You get to see the relationships grow, how now that things have blown over in the terms of violence, how they're dealing with each other now that things have quieted down. For instance, okay, I think the rest of this video is probably going to be fairly spoilery, so just a little warning there. But I don't like to get into too many spoilers, so I don't know. So for instance, Nesta is going through really, really hard times. She's not talking or living with the main group of characters. She's withdrawn her from herself. I think there's only one chapter in her perspective where you get a look into how depressed and sad she is and how she doesn't really know what to do, and she still isn't happy that she's a fairy necessarily. On the other hand, of course, the main character on this cover, Thera, she's also dealing with some of her own PTSD, post-war traumatic memories. She's dealing with it a lot through painting, through helping the community at Valeris. Because as we've seen in the previous novels, her release and way of dealing with pain and suffering and even happiness is through painting, through viewing paintings or through viewing paintings, making paintings, other forms of art, like a tapestry that's included in this novel. And it's very moving to read. I'm not even a big artist. I don't know much about painting or, brush strokes and the history of art or anything like that, but I was very moved with the scene from The Tapestry Maker. When you read that, I almost started crying from how personal it felt. Like I got a sense for that character that shows up in one scene once in the novel, and Maas was able to create this character around her, of this idea of what's like to mourn and how to put it in a physical aspect. I think that was very well done, and I really praise her for exploring these ideas of what's like post-war, post-violence, post-difficult times, because that's a big thing that I think us as authors and other authors need to do, is explore what happens in the aftermath. Because I don't think many people always do that, and I really think that it's important. So, big thing ticked off there is there's a lot of character development and interpersonal reflections. The relationship between Thera and Rhysand is physical, as always. Yes, indeed. And the relationship between Azrael and all of a sudden I can't remember her name. Oh my god. What's her face? What's her face? Elaine. How did I forget her name? I knew it started with an E. I wanted to say Emma or something, but it's Elaine. I know that. Yeah, the relationship between Azrael and Elaine develops, and you see kind of these there's hidden feelings and wanting to reach out, but you can't quite, because there's also this relationship, this very long history between Mor and Azrael, and the words and the feelings that they're not willing to say. At the same time, you also have this complicated relationship with Cassian and Mor, who have gone through some really difficult times together. It's absolutely fascinating to see something that is centuries built, and then you toss in these new characters that have been around for 1 year. And you see how they disrupt things, but also they're making things better and worse at the same time. It's complicated, and it's amazing to read. It really is. So those characters and the relationships and the tensions are very well written, I find. As for the world building, as usual, I love Maas's world building. She draws me into her books and into her worlds like almost no other. Almost, I say almost, there are some fantastic worlds out there built by people. You get to see Valeris during winter time and feel it's kind of like a Christmassy festival vibe. That's what I think she's going for, but it's winter solstice instead, and it's still warm and lively and people visiting each other. It's very well done, and you can make connections through our world with Maas's world, and I think that's a very important part for us to connect with these characters and what they're going through. As for the plot, like I said earlier, it's not very the world's ending, what's gonna happen, oh my god, It's not that at all. It's much slower, it's paced out, which I think is something that Maas is trying to have us get this steady, okay, here's what's happening now, here's where everybody's at. Then we'll continue on with the future of this story, which I really think she's going to continue, otherwise she's leaving us with a bit of a cliffhanger, and that wouldn't be cool, Maas. Just saying, that wouldn't be cool. but congratulations to having a baby boy. Anyways, the plot's slower. It's a lot more, it's not man versus earth or man versus man necessarily. It's more man versus self in this for the inciting incidents and such and so forth. For me personally, I love introspective thoughts, so I really enjoyed delving deeper into these characters. It was very lovely. That being said, with the plot not being as action filled as the previous books in the series, there is progress. There's progress moving forward because the characters do change. What they do changes. Like, for instance, this is another idea of a spoiler. Feyre ends up buying a art studio after contemplating it and battling with herself whether or not she wants to do this because of the luxury of buying such an expensive thing when she grew up so poor and barely being able to eat some days. That's a huge accomplishment for her to say, this is what I love and this is going to help people, by her teaching classes on painting and art therapy. And that is such a lovely thing. As well as Nesta, another one of the big progressions is Nesta, instead of withdrawing into herself, she does go out, she does visit the gang on winter solstice, and they try to enjoy each other's company. There's still tensions there, obviously, but Nesta does go out there. She does visit them, even though it does take a bribe from her sister, but still personally knowing how depression is, going out some days, facing anybody can be so hard, especially when you've locked yourself in your own mind for so long. And Nesta has eternity to lock herself in now, so it's good that she's trying to become better. And meanwhile, she is going through a difficult time with her abusive father and abusive ex-fiance, I believe that is how they're working together at the Nightmare Court, and she has to face them and deal with how they think of her versus, which maybe I should think about myself a little better. Should I be doing this and going out, or should I stay close to show them that I'm not broken, that I am brave and I'm strong? Will they think that I'm weak? It's such an important thing for her to go through, and her sexuality is really hung in question, which unfortunately Maas doesn't explore, because I know as she was basically crucified for being in a relationship with Cassian, something that is very looked down upon, and then she's cast out because of this action, and so she's struggling to gain control of her own sexuality again, of being okay with herself and with how others perceive her. And I really hope that Maas explores that in the 4th book, because we didn't really get to know much more about this struggle that she's having. She had one chapter in her perspective, I believe, which kind of opened up the idea. And I know Maas is leaving breadcrumbs for us to want to buy and read the next book, but it would have been nice seeing a little bit more of a progression in this novella. All in all, on Goodreads at least, I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars because like I said, I love these characters. I love that I get to know them more, and watching them struggle and also be happy, the good and the bad times, and during circumstances are not as dire, is a wonderful thing to read. These are things that I love reading. If you don't enjoy slower moving books that are introspective, I do not recommend this then. However, if you're like me and you enjoy really deeply delving into characters and stuff that's a little bit slower moving, I highly suggest this, especially if you love the rest of the books in this series. It's wonderful. Thank you, Sarah J. Maas, for writing this, and I cannot wait until the next book in the series. that's all I have for you guys today. Do all the things down below with the commenting, the subscribing, the liking, all that stuff. I won't go on about it. And I might be doing a video on how I did the makeup for this video. It's just an inspired makeup thing. I'm not a beauty guru, so you can't really take my thoughts as expertise ever. But yeah, if you're interested in seeing that, you can leave a comment down below if you want to see that. I might post it, might not post it. I don't. It made my camera battery die, so maybe I had to sit in this makeup for a while. So I was kind of like, yeah. Yeah. Other than that, I hope everybody's having a wonderful day, and if you are not, then I hope that your day tomorrow is better. Keep reading, keep writing, and I love all you viewers.